Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. A massive thing happened at full time at Anfield this Sunday. A transfer of power happened. The transfer of power left Jose Mourinho and was transferred to Sir Alex Ferguson, David Gill. They now have the power at the club to deal with football matters, while Edward Wood deals with the business affairs, which he's very good at. We saw David Gill driving to the club yesterday and arriving at the club. There's no question in my mind that he's some kind of temporary director of football. It's now becoming apparent that Manchester United will probably at least spend 50 million in January. So it looks like the club are happy for that to happen. Now, in terms of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's clear that's a Sir Alex Ferguson decision. Mike Phelan, that's a Sir Alex Ferguson decision. The power is with Sir Alex again. Now, this is a good thing for the time being. I wouldn't want that to be a permanent thing. But until they get a full-time director of football working at the club, they need someone who understands the game. David Gill always understood the game. But also, David Gill's role was for Sir Alex Ferguson to tell him what he wanted, and David Gill would do it. So I think those two will be working together to bring in the players for Manchester United's future. The major problem with Jose Mourinho, he was just for the now, he was just interested in signing these 30-year-old specialist players to play his way. The problem is with kind of the defenders he brought in. They weren't specialist enough to stand there for 90 minutes and defend. It's a very hard skill to defend for a whole game. And Jose Mourinho's tactics, that's what you have to do. You have to stand there as a team and defend and not move. It's a very stringent way of playing. And basically, players like Bailey just could not do it. But now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is here and Mike Phelan is here, you've got two defenders who can defend when they need to defend, but come forward. What they'll do is they'll defend as a team and they'll attack as a team. Jose Mourinho wants his centre-backs to defend for 90 minutes straight. It's coming at them all the time. And as I say, you have to be a specialist defender to be able to do that. And I think this is where the individual errors were coming from, where now it will be a totally different kettle of fish. So already there's a breath of fresh air. There's excitement within the fans because they know the potential of playing exciting, attacking players is there. So I'm excited about Cardiff on Saturday. By the way, I think we'll win. I think we'll win well. I think the players are going to be unshackled. We're hearing today that Paul Pogba was very happy that Jose left, and he was saying a lot of things. This is what happens when you attack a baller like me. You thought you could turn the fans against me. Listen, Jose Mourinho is a bully. He categorically bullied Pogba, bullied Martial. And I've noticed the media are really going for Pogba because he's a great... Look, he sells papers. So they're going to talk about how he's a disloyal player, that it's he and not Mourinho why the club was destabilised. But just don't listen to it. It's nonsense. The club was destabilised because of Jose Mourinho and his tactics. When Jose Mourinho came in, I was fully aware that he can cause problems and negatives to people from outside the club. So you create that siege mentality. But I was quite happy for that. But when I saw that he was causing infighting within the club itself, then you know that this guy's no good, that this guy has to go. And he did have to go, and he went. But on Sunday at full time, when I see Bobby Charlton whispering to Ed Woodward, when I see Sir Alex Ferguson nodding his head with disgust, I knew he was going, and I pretty much knew he would go on Tuesday and not Monday for many reasons. I didn't see how this manager could carry on. So, as I said to you the other day, when the media was saying, like, Samuel Lockhurst, Manchester United have no intention of sacking Jose Mourinho, I was a bit, nah, he's gone. He's gone. You are talking nonsense. And I tweeted, how stupid was Samuel Lockhurst look when he is sacked. And he does look stupid, but he's still posting nonsense and still trying to defend Jose Mourinho. Listen, I know I'm talking about him myself because I have to. I have to respond to this bullshit as a fan, right? And when you're a member of the media and you're still trying to spin the Jose Mourinho line, for me, I don't want to listen to you before. I'm never going to believe you again. The truth of the matter is that Jose Mourinho caused a very poisonous atmosphere within the club. He came out publicly attacking his own players, his own board, no matter what issues Sir Alex Ferguson had. And I'll give you a great example when he kicked the boot, allegedly, at David Beckham. That was not done publicly. Yes, the papers talked about it constantly. But Sir Alex and David weren't fighting within the media. Maybe Beckham was saying things to his friends in the media and they were trying to spin it all. Listen, we knew David was going to Real Madrid as soon as that moment happened. But at least David was playing and he played really well. I think Pogba has a lot to prove. He does. He cost £90 million. He needs to start playing like a £90 million player. But 3/4 of that was down to Jose Mourinho, playing him out of position, having the shackles on. You know, Pogba isn't a central midfielder. He isn't Roy Keane. People are mistaking Pogba for Fred. Fred is a really good defensive midfielder and he's also a really good attacking midfielder. He's actually an all-round great midfielder if you give him the opportunity to do so. But the lad hasn't been given that opportunity. You bring someone in for over 50 million and you do nothing with him. And as I say, he brought in 2 world-class defenders for over 60 million and barely played them half the time. He brought these players in even though they weren't right for the way he wants to play. I've said this before. For Jose Mourinho's way to work, he needed 11 specialist players, and the club weren't willing to do it. So the club are partly to blame for bringing him in or keeping him there when they realised his position was untenable because they weren't willing to go the direction that he wanted to, unless he promised them that he wouldn't do that. I feel that the people still defending Mourinho, it baffles me. He's gone. You can't rewrite history. He was a failure. Look, any manager can go there and win the Europa Cup and the League Cup. And I remember the League Cup final. We were that far away from losing that game. Southampton were really getting back into that game and kept on equalising as well. So we were lucky to win that trophy, but we did win that trophy. He won those 2 trophies. Congratulations to him. I'm glad he's gone. I think now that Ferguson is kind of pulling the strings on the footballing side, you're seeing a lot of changes happen very, very quickly. Apparently, Michael Carrick put a stop to Pogba gloating and said no player is bigger than the club and that any player who doesn't reach the levels that Manchester United expect will lose their jobs. Bravo to Michael Carrick. I've just defended Paul Pogba there. But at the end of the day, they all need to show it on the pitch. They've got no excuses now. He's gone. The shackles are off. We want to see 100% performance from this team now. Now, people will say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got the experience as a manager, but he is a good leader. And ultimately, these players shouldn't even need to be told what to do. Go out there. Go forward. Play good football. Score some goals. Enjoy yourselves. That's all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to do. So I think when you think about this time last week, we just couldn't see the end of this nightmare. We thought Mourinho would be staying until the end of the season. What happened on Sunday was obvious to me that once I saw the reactions from Ed Woodward, Bobby Charlton to Alex Ferguson, I knew this guy was toast. There was no way. But not even Mourinho actually considered that he'd be sacked. What did he say a few months back? I'm too expensive to sack. We're Manchester United. We can do whatever we want. Isn't that what Ed Woodward said ages ago? We can do what we want. And this is something else I want to talk about. He manipulated the club into giving him that contract in January. He manipulated the situation within the media, which convinced United that PSG wanted him. Personally, I was saying, good riddance, please, PSG, take him. But the club obviously weren't ready to let him go then. And they gave him this contract. And it was ill-conceived, but he manipulated them. He was very, very, very clever with what he did. But he's poisonous. He's just there to promote brand Mourinho, wherever he is. He was in the car the other day after he'd been sacked. He wound down the window so the media could take pictures of him. He's walking up London the other day and he's moaning about having, privacy. You're walking down there, Jose, because you want the press to see you. So, at the end of the day, for me, we've got rid of a really poisonous component. It was a mistake. It hasn't worked out, just like the other two haven't worked out. The next managerial appointment has to be a good one. And the director of football appointment has to be a good one. Manager and director of football, or sporting director, or whatever you want to call him, have to be working in sync together. So hopefully the club have learned their lesson at long, long last, and they'll structure the footballing side as well as they have the business side. So I am confident about the future. I think now that we obviously have got Sir Alex running things, it might not be official, but yeah, I think things are going to change. I mean, his sacking was a big reaction, and I can see movements behind the scenes now of things happening. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to succeed at Manchester United, there will be a call by the fans for him to get the job. I don't know. I don't know how good he is. We've only seen him at Mould. We saw what happened at Oxford, but Sir Alex Ferguson relegated St Mirren. All world-class managers make mistakes at times. He's still young in terms of being a manager, but for Sir Alex Ferguson to bring him in with Mike Phelan, I think there's lots of confidence by the club that he can bring the club and the fans together, and he can get results. Can he give us top four? I don't know. 11 points. 11 points is not an impossible target, but the problem is you've got Spurs and Chelsea who don't drop many points. It's going to be very interesting what happens in the second half of the season. It could be a disaster, which means our season is going to be totally mid-table and totally awful, or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can actually save us.